Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has pledged the commitment of the Southwest Governors Forum to accord a befitting burial to late Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, who died on Wednesday. Speaking with newsmen on behalf of the other Southwest governors in Ibadan after commiserating with Akeredolu's wife and family at his Jericho private residence on Friday, the Ogun governor says plans are underway to set up a committee that will ensure a befitting state burial for the late Akeredolu. He adds that the governors of the Southwest will ensure that Akeredolu's burial is given the respect and honor that he deserves. Joining me now is Kennedy Perete. He's the Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State, and we want to look at the recent happenings in the Sunshine States. Kennedy, welcome to the news. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for bringing me here this evening.
So I think we want to start with the views of the opposition, particularly the PDP, as it involves the recent swearing in of Lucky Aiyedatiwa as the governor of Ondo State following the unfortunate passing of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Of course, that followed him being in acting position when the governor finally handed over just a few days ago in the whole timeline of things. So what does the opposition view? What is the opposition's view of how things have played out leading up to now?
Well, in the first place, the whole of Ondo State is still mourning. We've lost governor of the state. We may not agree on all issues, but we must also acknowledge that he was a courageous man who fought for what he believed in. So the general mood in the state is that the governor has also declared 3 days mourning, starting from Wednesday, But as it stands, government is a continuum. Now, baton has been passed over to Aiyedatiwa. It's been sworn in according to the constitutional requirement. What is left now is to see what it can make of the remainder of the tenure, which probably has just about 13 months thereabouts to completion. So there is no time to begin to talk about niceties. We had a lot of stagnation in the last 1 year or thereabouts when the governor first proceeded on medical leave. When they came back, they didn't come to the state, was in Ibadan. Another 3 months or thereabouts came in. So a lot of time has been wasted. There's a lot of stagnation that has been experienced in the state. Now that the new governor has been sworn in, what we expect is for the governor to swing into action and deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of Ondo State.
Mm. So in terms of the transition of power in Ondo State and how all of that moved on or did happen to move, what's the perspective or any concerns? Because we're seeing some precedent-setting moves, and many people, of course, would remember the former governor and his views on the situation when things happened with Musa Yar'Adua as well as Goodluck Jonathan and the doctrine of necessity and how that set some precedent. So does the PDP have any concern as to how power was transitioned in Ondo State?
Well, initially you recall that when the governor returned from his medical leave, precisely on the 7th of September, and went to Ibadan, he didn't come to Ondo State, we issued the press statement calling for Akeredolu to return to Ondo State, where he was elected to govern. Initially, people said, "Oh, we are not being empathic. We are not having any empathy for this man that was abroad." It's not about empathy. It's about the people. If one is ill, if he's incapacitated or whatever it was, that made it impossible for him to come to Ondo State, the necessary thing to do was to probably hand over to Aiyedatiwa at a point when people even were insinuating that maybe the PDP had some kind of unholy alliance with Lucky Aiyedatiwa. We said, no, that's not true. What we had just said is that let the needful be done, especially in a situation whereby governance was suffering in the state. The deputy governor at that time had his issues with the state assembly. There were a lot of problems. So we needed Akeredolu to be on seat. We needed Akeredolu to come to Ondo State to be able to address some of these issues. But as it turned out, it didn't happen. And for another 3 months, there was this back and forth argument. There was protests at different layers. There were elder statesmen who had to come into the fray to say, look, let the needful be done. And eventually they went to Abuja and the president intervened. All of that didn't even work out until maybe much later when they say, okay, the letter has been transmitted to Lucky Aiyedatiwa to become acting governor. I think that was around the 10th of December this year. So between when power was transmitted to Aiyedatiwa and when it was reported that the governor had passed on was barely about 2 weeks, or thereabout. So all we needed to do was to ensure that the Ondo State people did not suffer because of the illness of the governor. And it was not done in any bad faith, it was done in good faith. It was done with every sincerity of purpose. And all those who are in Ondo State and even outside of Ondo State knew that Akeredolu's absence was, a lot of stagnation. It brought about some kind of instability to the government of Ondo State. But now that there's a new governor, we commiserate with the people of Ondo State. We are all bereaved as it is. Whether you are PDP or APC or any other party will not matter now. It was elected by the people of Ondo State. So we grieve all the same, but government has to move on. Nobody is going to wait because somebody died now. As painful as it is, as tragic as it is, because the man died at 67. That's what can say is untimely death. We can say so. But it's the owner of life himself that has taken it. And there is nothing we can do than to submit to his will.
So as you said, government is a continuum and government has to go on. So today we know that the Ondo State Assembly has passed an increased budget from what the governor presented just last week. He had presented a budget around 385 billion naira. Today, a budget of 395.5 something billion naira was passed. What does PDP think of the increase in the budgets and, of course, some of the priorities listed out? There's also a push for the state's tax authority or revenue authority to ensure an improved revenue collection. So what are some of the thoughts that PDP has in terms of the budget that was passed today for Ondo State?
Yeah, you see, the budget proposals and approvals and signing into law of appropriation bill and the rest of that have almost become routine. They have become maybe rituals, what we call political rituals, every year. This was a budget that was proposal that was submitted, I think, last week. And this week, between Christmas and New Year, the members of the State Assembly have passed the budget with about 10.7 billion or so increment. But for me, the important fact here is that it's not about figures. It's not about statistics. It's not about data. What is important is that how does this budget, how does it translate to improvement of life of the people of Ondo State? How does this budget, as approved by the Assembly, how will it impact positively on the lives of Ondo State people? How will this budget bring food to the table of the ordinary people? Because my grandmother does not understand all the story we are talking about, figures, statistics. Even those that are learned or educated may not even follow, because it has become so routine that it makes no sense to anybody again. So for me, the important thing is, yes, the budget has been passed. Whether there's an increment or a decrease will not matter. What will matter now is that this budget, is translated into concrete development for the people in the area of health, in the area of infrastructure, in the area of education. Just mention it. The important thing for the people is well-being, their well-being. Are we able to put food down for our children to eat? Are we able to pay their fees? Are we able to clothe them? Are we able to clothe ourselves? Do we have security? These are the things that Nigerians and those people want to hear about, not figures.
So before I let you go, let's quickly look at, of course, how you as an opposition party plan to engage with the new government of Ondo State. What are your top priorities when it comes to engagement for the betterment of the people of Ondo State?
You see, the APC government came in 2017, and what they met on ground was a very robust economy in the state. They met an economy that had artisans, had loans, they had market women, had access to soft loans that they can use to trade in the markets, neighborhood markets that were dotted in every part of the state. We had what was called the Mother and Child Hospital, that had free Medicare for children of between the ages of 0 and 5, and mothers that are pregnant, or women that are pregnant, had free, surgery if they have to have cesarean section, and so on and so forth. There were buses, free shuttle buses that were available for children to move from home to school and back home. The Ondo State government had the cheapest tertiary institutions in the country. But when the APC government came, all of this crashed. We no longer saw the buses, we no longer saw mother and child hospital. People used to come to Ondo State as, for medical tourism. Those things they cannot have in their states were available to them from Ekiti, even from neighboring places like Osun and Oyo. All that is not happening now. So, what we have always told the APC government that, look, these are the things we met on ground. And that is the prayer of every government to better the loss of the people that, oh, I came here, I met this here, I've taken it to this other level better than I met it. But we have not seen any of this. And that has been the plank on which our engagement has been. Okay. It's not going to be any different now.
All right, we'll leave it at that for now. With the budget presented and now, of course, approved by the State House of Assembly, there is a lot of work to do as Ondo State enters 2024. Kennedy Perete, Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.